Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Raw Knuckles podcast. We'd really appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe, and share with a friend.
I like to glance at it, especially if I made a nice play there. Or
Yeah, right?
if I should have, he's showing me, he's like, hey, I was open. And you're like, yeah, I know. I guess I should have made a better play. All right.
When I stepped on the ice, I never backed down, and I never stayed down.
And I was vicious, and I was malicious, and I don't care.
I'm alive. He's a freaking madman. Look at him going to town. That'll be a suspension. That'll be a fine.
All right, Joe. How are you, pal?
Doing good.
Good. Listen, you're in Montreal. I actually live here, not too far.
I just came down to the studio.
Yeah, well, yeah, the studio's in the house. Fuck, I wish.
One-man shop there, huh?
I wish, but yeah. Listen, we'll get going here. I just want to, I guess, start. Well, with you and Tim, fucking in Russia. Like, what was that like playing with Tim? Because Tim told me, he said, I heard Joe Pavelski's coming over. He said, I was all excited. And then he got there. He told me, he said, fuck. He doesn't do anything really good. He just does everything really good.
Yeah,
So-
and he's fat, and he's fat.
And he's fat and he had tits. And
He likes to eat, and
how was that time in Russia?
it was good. You go over there just not really knowing what to expect, but I think the lockout's going on. You're hearing from coaches, players that's like, hey, we'd love to see you go play, kind of stay active, stay in the game shape. This lockout's going to get sorted out at some point. I think we initially went over there thinking 4 weeks would be a long time. If the lockout was still going on, ended up staying 10 weeks. But going to Minsk with the imports we had and Buster there and Pekka Rinne, our captain Yuri Kargalati, it was we had a good time. It was fun. A lot of lunches, a lot of dinners. Just on the personal level, it was nice to have those guys around and make it, because you're leaving home. I had a 2-year-old at the time. Just a lot of unknowns, really, and you're going over there for 4 weeks, and next thing you know, it's almost Christmas, and you're like, all right, it's time to get back.
Remember how bad they tried to keep you? Like they were offering everything possible to keep him for like one more game. They're like, just play the next game. He's like, I gotta go.
Were, and we had a good time together. I mean,
we had a blast. Yeah,
it was a nice little organization for my experience there. I think I played 17 games. It was good. It was a fun team to be around. It was a great building. Yeah, we got to that point. I think it was time for me to go home, and they were like, "Well, we're right in the playoff hunt. We could really use you for these next 3 games." There were 3 teams out of the playoffs. I think it got to the point where it was like, "Stay. We'll give you $50,000 every win."
Yeah.
At the end of every game, you think you should win, and then it got to the point where it was like, "Well, why don't we just sign you?" I think they offered me a 4-year deal.
Wow. Yeah, and 20% of Gazprom and
yeah.
again,
Oh man.
But no,
Awesome.
it was good. I think it was also probably I was going into a contract year, and you feel young in your career at that time, and I'm like, yeah, I probably need to go play, and hopefully the transition back into the season will be a little bit smoother, getting into game shape. You know how it is. You train all summer to get ready for the season. Training camp feels like it takes forever, and now you throw a lockout in there, and you're like to do it all on your own. With just a couple guys. It was, it turned out to be a good decision for myself.
All right, so listen, I want to go back to Plover, Wisconsin.
Plover.
Plover. Small town, what, on a lake? What? Tim says you love fishing, but what type of town did you grow up in?
Yeah, small town. Dad is self-employed, paints, hangs wallpaper. Mom does a lot of the bookkeeping. They're still going at it there. Just a great town. The Wisconsin River ran through it, so we always had good fishing. There's a couple good little ponds around there. Dad loves to hunt and fish, so we grew up in the outdoors. And then we grew up right in a great little neighborhood. We had the Ball Diamonds a block away. There was a outdoor ice rink there every year. And then my older brother Jerry was kind of the one that would always build a rink in our backyard. And, so there was always ice in the wintertime just to go out and play with your buddies and just kind of be a kid.
That's not near, is that near Eagle River?
It's a couple hours away.
Okay, yeah, Ludwig.
It's right in the middle of the state.
Lud's is from there. Craig Ludwig, I played with him. I remember I went up to Eagle River once with him. I was like, where the fuck am I? Eagle River.
It's beautiful up there.
Yeah, it was awesome. But I grew up in the fucking city, so it's like, I was in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know.
Eagle River probably has one of the best youth rinks out there. It was just it was a wooden dome, small sheet. The bleachers are right on top of you. It was always fun to go up there and play.
Eagle River.
So yeah, and your older brother, he built the hockey rink, but your younger brother Scott, he played at UNH, huh?
Yep, yeah, he played.
Similar type player, or?
Yeah, I'd say so. Doesn't do any one thing great. Right, he walked on at UNH. I give him a lot of credit. He kind of earned his way. Didn't always get the most playing time, but just a great kid. Good teammate, all those types of things. And he had a couple good weekends. And I mean, you know how it is playing college hockey. And for the guys that do it, there's nothing like it being part of that team. And you go to school, but even like looking after, you go to pro and you always come back. For us at Wisconsin, being a Badger, there was always that pro group that was coming back, training together. You kind of got each other's backs. You want each other to succeed, and we had an awesome culture, also awesome group there.
I didn't even know you had brothers, Pabs. Thanks for telling me that one. I had zero idea.
Older
Dux was
brother.
Like, hey, his brother. I'm like, I don't think he has any brothers.
I know more about him than you. You got to do your fucking homework.
Older sister, younger brother.
You got to do your homework, Tim. Fuck, you never did your homework. That's why. Right?
I just thought we were better friends. That's all. I thought me and him were just closer friends. That's all.
So you start leave Wisconsin. You end up going turning pro. You end up going to the San Jose Sharks. You played in Worcester a little bit, 16 games. That's awesome. I remember American League. For me, I was the only 49 games, and I just wanted out of there so bad. But that 16 games, man, you put up some points, and they call you up. That first year in San Jose, all of a sudden, NHL. What was that like for you? That first year, can you remember that first game? Yeah,
I remember it all. It was awesome. I mean, going right back to college when you're deciding as a sophomore to leave, you're talking to everybody, and I remember Mike Eaves kind of sitting me down saying, if you're going to leave, you got to expect you're going to get into the NHL at some point, pretty quick, because that's where the game's at that you want to get to. That's where the money's at. That's where your dreams are at, and he wanted to make sure I wasn't rushing it, but I felt like I was ready for something more. And you go to I remember my first camp, one of the first days in training camp, and we're doing a battle drill or we got a scrimmage, and I got the puck in the corner, and Scott Parker's racing his way towards me, and I'm like, I dish it off and I dodge the check, and I'm just sitting here thinking, man, all right, I got to survive somehow. You're going to have to keep your head up. You're going to have to, play this game with your head up and share the puck and move. And I think I got a couple preseason games, got sent down to the American League. Got off to a great start down there. Like you said, 16 games. I went in, just super excited to be playing pro hockey. Like, I'm going to the rink for 2 hours. 3 hours, you get your ice time. I'm going to work on my game. I'm going to enjoy it. And then we'll go home and reset and do it again. And I think it was just the right mindset. I didn't expect to be given anything. Went down there just expecting to work on my game and play. And I had some great guys. Scott Ferguson, my first line mate, Matthew Darsh. I think he's assistant GM right now with Tampa. He's done a good job there. But these guys took me under their wings pretty quickly. And next thing you know, it's Thanksgiving and I'm getting called up to San Jose. I remember the call. I was laying in bed probably 2, 3 a.m. Phone's ringing. Glad I had my phone on. They're like, Milan Mahalik got hurt. You're getting the call up. You're going up in the morning. Got to the rink at 6 on a bus to Boston to fly to San Francisco, land around probably 12 o'clock, and take a cab to the hotel. And next thing you know, I'm showing up 2.5, 3 hours before the game, and Jumbo's there already. He's already been there for an hour. He's notoriously getting there early, and guys are there and they're welcoming me, and we're just rolling with it. I played with Patty Marleau and Steve Bernier. That first game got probably 15 minutes. I just remember getting the puck, being like, "Wow, this is the NHL. Like, guys are going to be flying at me. I don't know if I can do it." I have that little bit of scared, anxious energy going, and it helped. Yeah, my game's kind of based off my mind in a lot of ways. So I'm making plays, jumping the holes, and felt like I had a really good game. Ended up scoring a goal, and I think I scored a goal probably 7 of my first 11 or 12 games. So it was a great start, and just kind of rolled from there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good start, huh, Nux?
Yeah, listen, I certainly understand the feeling. My first game, I remember I was scared to death. Like, I forgot everything I did in the American League. I had that under control down there, but when I come up, I was just scared shit my first couple shifts. And actually, first couple games. My second game was in Philly. First game was in Atlanta. But I just remembered everything about it, that first game. And that's why I asked. I want to kind of get your feeling. But the shots.
I remember sitting in I think it was the second period, coming from the East Coast. 7:30 starts, mainly in San Jose. It's probably, I don't know what time it is out back in Worcester right now. And I just remember the second period, just sitting there being like, "Wow, I've been up for a while today." Couldn't sleep during my nap, and just kind of going off pure adrenaline, and worked out, scored that goal in the third period, and went from there.
Yeah, I felt like the game. Did you feel like the game was easier?
Yeah, I think
like
so.
That's what I felt like.
If you got, if you're a smart hockey player, if you got some IQ to you, it's easier. Guys are in more positions. They're not running out of position as much.
Yep.
The support on the ice is better. So if you're looking to kind of get it, make that next play, someone's usually available, and you have a good understanding where guys are.
So San Jose, your assistant general manager, Tim Burke, and I were roommates. Berkey.
Oh, no way.
Berkey loves you. I talked to Berkey about you, obviously, but he had nothing but respect and good words for you.
I had a lot of good conversations. We called Berkey. I think he was probably behind his back, but he was the grill master. Man, he would get into guys. He always had something about your game. You could improve on. He had a opinion, but had a lot of great conversations about everything with that guy, and I haven't seen him in a few years, so hopefully he's doing well.
Yeah,
but
he is.
Yeah, he was there. He's a big part of it for sure.
Yeah, he loves the game, no question about it. But so those years in San Jose, playing hockey, you go, Wisconsin, you're playing Badgers, and next thing you're playing, how much better does it get than that, playing in a climate like that with a really good hockey team? Not just back in the day, it was like, oh, I want to play in LA, but LA sucked. But with nice weather, we can golf, we can fuck around. But you guys had a good team, and Christ, you really build something there. And how was that? Like that whole team coming together, and some of the super players that you played alongside.
Yeah, right from day one, you step into that situation. You're looking at Joe Thornton, Chichu's coming off the 56 goal season. You have the D-men, you have the forwards, the goalies. And in that weather, it puts a smile on everyone's face a little bit more often. Then you're winning games on top of it. It was a great room. The 13 years I was there, it was awesome. We really enjoyed it. And people don't give it enough credit when a young guy comes into a room like that that's established, with good leaders, good energy, guys that want to work, do it the right way, and want to have fun. It goes so long for the young guys. And you can learn, they pull you along, you get an extra little grace period to kind of try to keep learning and growing your game and developing just kind of as a teammate. And I owe a lot to to that system and that culture that we were there. And we had a lot of good teams, a lot of good runs. We always, came up a little short for whatever reason. But man, the tank was rocking every night, and the playoffs, it was an incredible place to play.
So with that kind of lineup, like, did you early on, I mean, you probably had to earn some ice time, right? I mean, I know we talked about you getting I don't know a coach exactly what the coach was, but about winning faceoffs, focusing on that. But were you on the power play from the start, or what was the situation when you first got up?
I don't remember being on the power play first right away. So Ron Wilson was my first coach, first 2 years. Come up, I have tons of success early. I kind of block a shot into my ankle, finish the game. Can't really put pressure on it. Miss the next handful of games. Come back. I'm playing, 15, 16 minutes. Then that slowly trickles down as I just wasn't myself. I wasn't moving as good. Lost some confidence. I remember going all the way down to 10 minutes to being a healthy scratch in the playoffs, in and out. And I remember that end of the year meeting with Ron, and he's like, we got Torrey Mitchell, Devin Setaguchi coming up next year. We kind of got you as the last forward at the moment. I'm just thinking here, like, wow, I thought I was in, and now I think I'm out again. And they're saying, you got to have a good summer and come back and reprove yourself. And went and had a good summer, just worked hard. Came back, started on the fourth line, got up to the third line, had a little run with JR. We had some success, found myself kind of back up towards the top six forwards. And I think I finished that year right around probably 18, 19 minutes a night and playing good, in a lot of the situations. And then when you're playing on those good teams, I don't know if we had a top six. We had, that top nine was pretty good. And you found yourself, there was a stretch, I think I was center in the third line and then playing on the first unit PP. And it was just the way it was. However they saw fit, you just go out and do it. And the thing you're referring to, Buster, with the faceoffs, I think when Todd McClellan came in, had a good conversation with him in the summer, and then Jay Woodcroft, right, the coach with Edmonton. Those two, I owe a lot to them. I learned a lot about the game from those guys and how to be a pro. And they came over from Detroit when Detroit was rolling, and they won that cup and we're in the finals. It was just a conversation like, hey, we got a big, we got a big vision for you, but to earn some of that ice time, your face-offs are going to have to go up. You're going to have to be a little bit heavier in the D zone. And he's like, if we can trust you winning some face-offs and getting that percentage up, you're automatically going to get, a few more power play face-offs, a little bit more D zone, PK. Your ice time's going to go up. And so it was, back to figuring out how we get better at face-offs now.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, I look at that record in the playoffs. Yeah, incredible record, 64 goals. But looking at that team overall, and listen, I played 13 years. I missed the playoffs 1 year, and we missed it on the last day of the season. And what are you, like 15, 16 years now? And what, you miss it twice?
Yeah, you're 17.
It's unbelievable. 17.
Once in San Jose, and we had a good team. We just had some stuff going on for whatever reason. It didn't work out that year. And, that following year after that, Pete DeBoer came in, and we had some good meetings with him. And, there were a lot of questions about our culture and leadership. And he was like, you know what? Everything I've seen from day one, like you guys work tremendously hard. You do the right things. We just got to keep going. Got to get you guys some rest. You're not getting any younger. A few more days off here and there, but let's go have fun and let's keep working. And this year we went to the finals. We lost to Pitt in 6 games, but all the feelings that year was, especially in the playoffs, it was right there for us. And yeah, I mean, the playoffs, it's everything, right? Yeah. You play every year. We missed it once in San Jose, once here now, in Dallas, and it's such a treat. It's such a reward to be playing that time of year. All the goals mean something a little bit more. The fan bases are fired up. Obviously I would think everyone would pretty much say it's one of the highlights of their career is playing in the playoffs.
Yeah. Listen, I just took it for granted. And I also think back in '86 when I was fortunate enough to be with a group of guys that won the cup in '86, and I got to tell you, I'm thinking we'll be back here next year. Fucking no way, we'll be back here. It's incredible. Like when you're a young kid like that, and you're just like, yeah, this is going to be easy. We'll be back, and I never realized how difficult it was. And that's, would you get to the final 1 year, right? But
yeah, 1 year there, and then in the bubble with Dallas, we were back in, and it's just you can feel it when it's happening now. Getting to the final twice, you can definitely feel the energy in the room growing. How everyone's bought in, everyone's ready just to put their best game out every night and expect to win over 7 games. And you get that feeling in the locker room. You definitely believe anything can happen. But man, like there were moments, playing with Jumbo where he'd be getting on guys in the room, after a first period, second period, and kind of what I always took from that was just he wants help. You always want help as a teammate. You want to do your thing, but you also want everyone else doing their thing. And then the biggest thing is there's no wasted nights. Like you're down 2 goals going in the third, you can't pack it in. If you want to get to the playoffs, you got to kind of have that mindset every night. Hopefully you steal a couple of those wins throughout a year and it puts you in a good spot, or it gets you in, gets you over the hump. And so that's something I kind of, always go back to, is just no wasted nights. Like find a way.
Yeah, that was kind of my message too. I have 0 playoff games. 0. I have nothing to contribute to this conversation. Anyways, keep going. Go ahead.
That's a first.
Well, the guys you play with, awesome, right? Let's go, if we can, to the injury and that whole thing. I mean, what a horrific injury. I was watching the game that night, and then certainly what happened afterwards was stunning. Now, 5-minute major is one thing, but it's incredible to me. And I don't want to give the credit to Vegas saying the wheels fell off as much as I want to give it to the Sharks, because, man, when they took you off the ice, Kane was right there, Jumbo Joe was holding your head, away you go in, and that group of guys, they were fucking possessed after that.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Like, honestly, it's one of the most stunning comebacks that I've ever seen in this sport. And it was, how much credit you give to that teammates for really kind of rallying around you.
Yeah, it was a wild night. It really was. That stretch there, I tweaked my MCL probably with about 10 games left. Came back with 2 or 3 left in the season. Game 1, I get smoked in the face with a puck and it goes in the net.
I remember that.
Lose the teeth.
I remember that.
Game 6, I block a shot. The one we won in overtime, shorthanded with Hurdle's goal. We're down 3-1 in that series. Like, everyone forgets we're down 3-1 in that series. Block a shot, I crack a finger. Shoot it up the next night. It's, I think it gets worse. It probably displaces then, and we're just getting through. We're down 3-0. That play happens. The face-off, little push, kind of get clipped. 5-minute major or not, that was the call, and I don't remember really anything from that face-off. I've watched it now. I've seen it, so I saw it happened. Our trainer comes out, or he told me he came out, and he's like, "Pav, what do you want? You want a stretcher, or where are you at?" And I was just like, "No, just get me off the ice." And the first thing that I remember is we're probably a couple of yards from the bench, and I just see Jumbo's face right here. He's just like, "Pat, we got you. You're gonna be all right. You're good. You're good. We got you." And so we go in and get in the training room, and Razor's looking at me. He's like, "You know where you are?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're Game 7, Vegas. Friday night, whatever it was." He's like, "All right, you're actually with it pretty good." So the first staple goes in the head to kind of, he's like, "Let's get you cleaned up first off." First staple goes in, hear the goal horn. I'm like, "What was that?" He's like, "I guess we scored 3-1. Probably the last staple goes in, the horn's going off again. And I'm like, "What was that?" And he's like, 3-2, we scored. I'm like, "How did we score again?" He's like, "Power play." I'm like, "I thought the first was a power play." He's like, 5-minute major. I was like, "Really?" Like, what happened? I'm like, I'm just, it was a blur there. I go, so we get cleaned up a little bit, and he sits me down in his office. I'm watching the game, and I'm looking at the score, and it's 4-3, and I'm like, Ray, are we winning? And he's like, yeah, the guys rallied. And I was like, wow, I got teary-eyed. I was just like, so
That's
proud of these
unbelievable.
guys. The emotions are going, got a concussion, everything. Where what everyone forgets too, like we score 4 goals there, we're winning now 4-3, and there's 7 minutes left, but it feels like we won the game. So the guys got to calm down. We're playing a final 6-7 minutes, and everyone starts coming in to watch the last minute in the trainer's room, and where I come out of the office and I want to be around these guys, and I get out, it's like 10 seconds out, all of a sudden Vegas scores 4-4. I'm like, I'm going right back to the office.
Yeah.
So the boys come in, they're all fired up. Hurdle, I remember him coming in. Goody, they're all fired up. They're like, we're winning this game. And they go out, and obviously Goodrow makes a heck of a play to score that game-winning goal, and it was a pretty special night.
Yeah, it was incredible.
There are so many things you heard those guys talk about it, and the first unit went out and they scored, right? And they came back, and they scored pretty quick, and they went right back out and scored another one. And they were coming to the bench, and they were going to change, and the second unit was going to go out. And I think Jumbo was the guy that stood up and was like Pete, like, we're not going. Those guys are going. And he's on those guys. He's like, you guys go score again. And, for him to step up and do that, and like,
that's
totally
huge.
understand that situation, you're like, it was just incredible. And they went and got it done. And
yeah. You don't hear that, right? You don't hear those things. And, a guy like Joe stepping up like that. I remember meeting him his first year in Boston. He was just this goofy young kid, right? It was hilarious. He, here I am, and finally the NHL, and I heard nothing but good things about him from every teammate, and just how he was with.
He's incredible. He always talks about it. He's like, I think he played 6 minutes a night his rookie year.
Yeah, Pat Burns
had a handful of points, fought 20-25 times, like tough, and just worked his way into being what he is now. And he's that same goofy, loving teammate, like just so much fun to be around.
So, all right, so your Sharks career, what happens there at the end? Because, God, you would think, you're a San Jose Shark. You look like you're going to play there your whole career, and then it doesn't happen. You end up going to Dallas. What happened there?
Yeah, that was the plan. That was the vision I always kind of had. And it just didn't work out. At the end of the day, it didn't work out. They didn't have the room. They didn't, we'll just kind of leave it at that. It didn't work out. And, I think everything kind of happens for a reason. And, we test free agency. People were like, you're going to love it. You're going to see what teams think of you around the league. And it'll be flattering at times. You had a lot of teams call, a lot of options. Settled on Dallas, went into Dallas, and
if I can ask, why did you settle on Dallas? Was it purely financial or a combination?
There was a combination of everything. Wanted to get paid when you were there. Definitely that
he wanted the golf.
That plays into it. We're looking if there's an option, a direct flight back to Madison, back home. Like, we've been on the West Coast. I wanted to get back into the Central Time Zone. Mom and Dad, they're staying up. The game doesn't start till 9:30 for everyone back home. That was a big part of it. Another warm climate was awesome. Awesome. It was always a city that I enjoyed going to, and that's where we settled. And we had plenty of options and good options, and that's where it took us. And then COVID hit, and down in Texas, the world didn't change a whole lot.
Yeah,
and it was awesome for our family with having a young boy, and he was playing hockey and going to school, and just getting to still be a kid, and then we were playing hockey and golfing and doing some hunting, all the good stuff. So it's been good. I've really enjoyed my time in Dallas, and it's been a great group of guys. And
what was that finals like? That was during the COVID, right? No fans.
No fans.
So and then you had the finals with, what was that finals?
It had a little bit of Minsk feeling to it. A little bit just being away from everybody for, the 60 days, whatever it was. It's after going through one finals in San Jose and how much energy is in a city, in your city when you're going through that, and how much everyone backs you. You felt a little bit bad not to be able to share it with the fans and the family, in your own building, but it was exciting. I mean, you knew what you were playing for, I think. And the atmosphere, sucked at times for sure. And it was quiet. You could hear, if you went and watched one of those games, you could hear guys yelling at the ref. You could hear guys yelling at each other, the puck passing. But it was, once that puck dropped, you kind of just got in your own space and you had an understanding of what you were playing for. And it was just like, all right, let's just flip this switch and go do it. And it was, I think a big part of it was mental.
You're 38 years old now. I think back 34, and obviously I played a different style of hockey, but 34 was fucking getting difficult for me, right? I was starting to, let that little half step. I was starting to question myself with some things. You're 38 years old, and you're fit, you're in shape, you're certainly a different player, but it's still the grind of an NHL season at 38. What are some of the biggest challenges for you at this point in your career? Your day-to-day challenges. What mental, physical?
Yeah, the body. The body is the biggest challenge. I spend a lot more time on it, and every game day I'm going to see a guy whenever I can, and it works out. I'm going to see him, and I leave his table, and I'm feeling. I'm like, this is great. I can play for a while. Next morning rolls around and I'm, shooting them a text and how can I get back on this table? So those little things, a little bit more water, I guess, a little bit more stretching, hands-on work, stuff like that. The mind's great. No problems there. And the funny thing is with it all, even going through free agency and when you're still talking, is everyone's worried about you losing a step. And it's tough to lose a step when you never had one. He's like, well, that's been your comment about Joe his whole career. Is he fast enough? Is he here or there? You just keep trying to find a way. And you know what? The hockey in Dallas has been fun. I've been playing with, two kids with Rupe and Robo, smart players, high-end skill. You got Miro on the back end. You got some guys. You got another almost 38-year-old in suits, buzzing around, making plays. You can just see, I think if you're going to play for a while, you got to know the game. You got to have some skill, no doubt. You got to, love the game, but the mind has to really take over. And that's just the biggest part. Take care of the body, but then let the mind kind of push it wherever it wants to go.
You think the game's changed, how's it changed from, when you first played until today,
The game's in a great spot. I think it's got to be as good as it's ever been. I mean, there's some guys that can absolutely wheel out there.
Yeah, right.
And the skill level is so high, and you can see it in the kids. Like with my kid Nate and his teammates, you see their hands and the skill the plays that they can make right now. I'm like, my hands don't work that fast, and you can just see them watching, the McDavids, the McKinnons, these type of guys, and it's good. It's a fast game. I think the reffing's been really good. The biggest thing is you still get guys that want to just wheel and not understand where they are in the ice and who's out there, and there's some big hits that you're like, it probably didn't need to happen, but you forget, and you're trying to go score, and guys get caught once in a while. That's part of the game, which I'm really happy is it's there. That's why we have one of the best games, is that physicality in it and the speed it produces, and line changes on the fly, all that stuff. It's good. I like where the game's at right now.
So your first year, how old were you? Your first year, 22?
I was 22. Yeah,
22. Okay, so what does the 38-year-old Joe Pavelski? What advice does he give the 22-year-old Joe Pavelski, if he could?
That's a great question. Work, love to work. For me, one of the things I kind of established early on when I was at Wisconsin, that was probably the first real time I lifted a weight.
Yeah.
And it was like that second year, I was like, wow, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to learn to love the gym. So kind of that understanding that that's part of my job. And then just the teammate, like being a teammate, understanding that all you want from the guy next to you is like pull your weight, work hard, show up every day, show up on time, be ready to go. And that's, I give that advice because I learned that along the way, through Patty Marleau, through Jumbo, through a Rob Blake, these guys that loved the game as much as they did and showed up and played every night and would get after you a little bit. It was because they just wanted the best from you and for you and wanted to do it together.
That's awesome. That's awesome stuff. So you're in Montreal. What's your favorite NHL city?
Man, I would probably say Montreal's got to be the best arena with the fans and the history. You can feel it. You feel the energy in here. I've always liked playing Chicago.
Yeah.
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. You know what? Like early in my career, I loved playing in LA. Loved playing in Dallas. Felt like every time I went in there, I was scoring. Then LA turns into a pretty good team, and every time we went in there for felt like 10 years straight. I talked to Brownie one time about it. He goes, "We just knew it was going to be a 2-1 game." And they're big man-on-man, Daryl Sutter. Big defenseman. You're just man-on-man, clutch and grabbing. And you just had to, throw yourself at that game. And if everyone bought in that night, you were up 2-1. And if not, you were probably losing 2-1. But it was going to be a 1-goal game and hard fought. And there were a lot of good contests there against Kopitar and Quickie and all those guys.
Yeah, I think of that one year. The year they won the Cup, would they have 4 Game 7s?
Yeah.
L.A., right? They won 4 Game 7s that year.
Yep.
Like crazy. Man, that's yeah. Those are great games. I remember watching that series too. So, 38 years old. You're in Dallas now. The golf game, gotta love it. Your son Nathan, I saw you had him at the All-Star game there. He got everybody's stick. That was so cool, being a kid, being able to enjoy that. And you just apparently got finished watching his game. What level is he at now, Nathan?
Yeah, they're Pee-wees, second-year Pee-wees. They're out in Charleston at a big tournament. They got a lot of the top 10 teams. They got it handed to them yesterday. They kind of responded well today with a nice win. So it's good to see. It's funny. You just teach these kids kind of how you see the game, how you play. They got a great coach in Barrett Wilson. His dad is Rick Wilson, longtime coach in the NHL. So Suits and I get on the bench. We work the doors for him and get on the ice, help run a few drills. But it's fun. They got a good little group, and we enjoy being around those kids. It's probably get too much enjoyment out of it, to be honest.
So go ahead.
Go ahead, Tim.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Fire away. Come on, fire away. Fuck, you've been sitting there with your thumb up your ass.
I know. I'm just, this whole playoff talk. Just no, I wasn't gonna say anything. Honestly, I wasn't really gonna say anything. I was just gonna say something stupid like, So you watch your kids' games a lot? Just go. We'll edit this.
Yeah, I talked to him this morning, and I'm probably gonna say the kid's name wrong, but that's Slavkovsky, the first.
Yeah.
How do you say that?
Slavkovsky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a message from Tuna today asking for one. I got to bring home a stick from him, so I got to remember that. He's like, that'd be a good one to add to the collection, Dad. He freaking loves his sticks. He's got them all in his room, and at night, every once in a while, I'm putting in bed. He's like, Dad, grab me a stick, and he'll have his eyes closed, and I'll hand it to him, and kind of feel the knob, and he'll be like, Ovechkin. And he's like, give me another one. Like, make a tough one. I'll finally get one that I think he hasn't checked out in a while, and he'll be like, he'll go to the blade, he'll be like a lefty, and he'll throw out, just a random name, a Goudreau or something. I was like, I thought I had you there. He knows all his sticks.
We'll get him. I'll send him one of mine. We'll get him. We'll get him.
That old Iserman curve, right? That thing was gross.
Awesome.
A lot of skill playing with that thing, Buster.
Hey, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
The Olympics, what's that like compared to playing in the Stanley Cup?
Yeah, we were at two of them, Vancouver and Sochi. And I mean, the Vancouver one was just incredible, right in Canada, same time zone. Everyone knows what the game means there. And then to play them twice, play them in the round robin there, and then see them again in the gold medal game. I remember walking to that rink, through the fans, getting in there, and just the excitement. And you flew in. There was an energy to that city as it kept getting deeper into the games. It was at an all-time high, and I remember at the end flying out. It was just like such a dull feeling. Like that was one of the coolest experiences I've had playing for Team USA in Canada against Canada. It was the game. We're down 2-1, I think it was, tied up late on the Prezi goal. And going to overtime, have a chance at it was pretty special.
Didn't you hit the post in overtime? Didn't you have a chance in overtime? That was pretty.
Yeah, I think it's 4-on-4. I don't know. I've seen it once now. I didn't look at it for a long time. I'm out there, and when you're going out there, you're like, oh my God, like this is great. Like, let's go try to get it done. I remember coming through the middle. Niedermeyer has the puck. He makes a pass. They knock one down, kind of turn and fire it, and Luongo was in net at the time, and he kind of got a shoulder on it. I thought it was probably closer than it was. It had a feeling it's that turn and shoot and try to catch him, hopefully dropping, try to go high glove. He got a shoulder on it, fought it off. Get back to the bench. Timmy Thomas, I remember him being like, that was a pretty good shot. It was close. And then frickin' looked back down, and Crosby is scoring his goal. It was a little deflating that way, but such a great experience, great group of guys. And then the second one in Sochi, we played in that.
You're back home. You're back home. You're
back home
by that, yeah.
Back with my boys, and we're playing Russia in one of the games, and that was the shootout game where Oshu went off, and that building was
cool.
There was tons of energy in there. That was a pretty special game as well. Datsuk, Kovalev, all those guys. It was got to go in that shootout, got stopped, and then got to watch Osh do his thing.
So I never took up golf till I was like, 28 years old. Like where I grew up, there were no golf courses, right? And
who wins in a match between the two of you?
Well, we haven't played yet.
Oh, fuck. If I was winning, you'd probably just bully me to a win.
I will bully you to a win. So you
see
grew
what
up
happens
playing
if you
the
make
game?
this putt. No. Yeah,
Did you grow up like in Wisconsin playing as a young kid? Because all Canadian kids up here, right? They play hockey all winter because you can. Yep. And then once hockey season's over, they're all playing golf. And I never golfed as a kid. I took it up late. I love the game. But I flipped on the TV this year, and I didn't know this about you because, I just followed your hockey stuff. And I flipped on Tahoe, and there you were in the hunt. I'm there, fucking let's go. Because I want the hockey player, right? Fuck them other guys.
Yeah.
And, you got in the final there, and that last hole, what is it? Who won it? The quarterback, the football player?
Yeah, Romo.
Yeah. Right?
Yep. No,
like
growing
you
up,
need it.
Dad never golfed, but there was one day, I think I was probably 9-10 years old, and he came home asking if we wanted to do the Friday lessons at the local public course. So we did. I did it. Younger brother jumped in the next year. We then turned into just loving the game, and we'd get the junior membership. I think it was probably $230 at the time, and Mom would drop us off in the morning. We'd play 18 or 36 holes. Led into first real job of a bag room boy, so I could play free golf at the country club. And I played baseball too up until 8th grade, and then freshman year I picked golf in high school, and it was awesome. I really enjoyed.
What's the index at? What are you at now?
It's probably right around. I think it's plus 0.9 at the moment, maybe somewhere around there.
Ooh, plus 0.9. And then don't you play with Romo in the summers?
Yeah, no, he's in Dallas, so we see him.
Yeah, don't you play golf with him though, right?
Yeah, yep.
So what was it? Were you guys just like side betting too? Like,
it gets pretty serious. It gets pretty serious out there. There's probably, I don't know how many guys that legitimately can win it, but there's 10, 15 really good players.
Yeah,
and he's at the top of the list. He plays a ton of golf, just about every day. He's a good player for sure. So, but you get out there, and there's nothing like that tournament, man. They treat us awesome. The cameras are there. They're following you around. The greens are good. The stands, the ropes.
Were you nervous? What's the nerves like?
The first tee is always like, you're down there and you're looking at that ball and you're like, you got to hit this big, almost a slice. You kind of got to hit a cut 3-wood around some trees, and you're just like, don't miss the ball. Like.
Oh, dude! I mean, if a twosome tells me to play through, I'm like fucked. I'm like, I don't even finish the hole. I'm like picking it up. Like I couldn't imagine. There's no way.
And I don't play any tournament golf right now, so I don't really have a great feel for it right off the hop. So you get into that tournament once a year, and that first tee shot, it gets to you a little bit, and piped it down the middle 3 times in a row this year, so that was good. But then you're in the playoff and you're just like, there's thousands of people lining the fairway. You got probably Nota Begay trailing you with the cameras talking, and you're like, all right, there's a good chance you might pound this in the woods or not, but you just got to kind of just make a swing, see what happens.
So the golf game is good. The fishing game is good. Tim said you musky fish. I grew up fishing in the ocean and tuna fish and stuff like that, striped bass back home. But first time up here in Montreal, I went musky fishing was 2 years ago, and I got hooked on it. Like I friggin' love the musky fishing. What is that big back home, Wisconsin, right? It's huge.
Yeah. We live right in Madison, so that was the number one spot for us to kind of get back to and train for the career and everything. And then we bought a house on a lake, so I always wanted a cabin. First thing when I signed my pro contract, that was the talk of like, I'm going to live on a lake somewhere so I can, lower the boat, go fishing, and kind of settle on Madison. A couple nice lakes there. They get pressured a ton, so there's a lot of boats out there chasing muskies and everything else that's in the lake. But it definitely works for us now, and we get our fair share of muskies out there. And I'm like you. I'm hooked. Your perfect day. Awesome. We wake up on the water at 5 a.m., fish till about 8, work out at about 8:30, and then probably head to the course or something, or back on the lake.
What's that bar? The KK or the Triple K? And
the KK.
The KK. All right.
Club.
Did you ever swim the bar?
We had a lot of good nights in the KK. It's
KK. Did you ever see anybody swim it?
I don't know if anyone swam the bar.
Because I was there for Chelly's wedding, and
right across.
Oh my God! Someone swam the bar there, a well-known NHLer, and I've never seen anything like it. I've done some crazy shit, and I'm like, okay, it was nuts.
Can't say I really have.
Yeah.
He got up at the end. What are you talking about?
You get on I'll tell you, everybody's standing at the bar. There's women, everybody's there having drinks and they're talking, and somebody gets up on the end of the bar and just swims up the end of it and knocks the drinks over everybody. And I'd never seen that before. I'm like, okay, Mad Town. But yeah. So
we got something to shoot for this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. So I got to tell you, and I'm sure you guys are aware, but that kid, Aber Wi-Fi.
Oh, yeah,
kid with the
Yeah,
Habs.
I got that part of it.
Yeah, he knocked out a kid in training camp in Ottawa. Pretty tough kid. Knocked him out, and then
Yeah,
he
did
fought
all right last night.
Oh
Yeah.
God, did he give it a Cassian? So I just warn the boys.
Yeah,
Yep.
like Pavs. Yeah, we're just trying to help you out here, okay?
Yeah.
Keep your head up. If you don't know how to keep your no,
I think
it's awesome.
It was like good to know about this kid
Yeah.
after seeing that last night. No, that was impressive.
This kid wasn't drafted in the OHL. He wasn't drafted in the NHL, and he was working at fucking Costco last year in Hamilton, Ontario.
Yeah, that's
like
wild.
crazy. What were you going to say, Tim?
No, I was just going to say before we let you go, what's Torch Pro?
What's Torch Pro?
Yeah.
It's a digital media company that I'm a partner in. Good buddy of mine, Matt Fornatero, was kind of the brains behind it. Started the first initial conversations, and it was a talk about like how can we, where digital media is at nowadays, and everyone's creating content and stuff, but how can we get involved in, it started at like, how can we share some of our knowledge, similar to what a podcast is doing, getting good stories. The thought was, who is your favorite player at a young age? I love Brett Hall, but besides on TV, watching him play, you never knew a whole lot about how he trained, how he shot a puck, some of his thoughts, so it's like, how can you bring some of these stories, some of this content to fans, to kids? And, it's grown from there to help, athletes, with the brand building and not just like brand building, go do this, but be authentic with it and share, what you want and create your own stuff that way in your own thoughts, and then let companies come to you. But it's a cool little idea that's growing. We got a lot of traction going. I think we have 3 podcasts now. We have, some NHLers, some basketball guys, and just sharing and growing kind of together and creating that kind of that culture where you can share stuff and help each other out.
Good stuff. Tim,
Yeah,
hell of a question, Tim. Hell of a question, Timothy.
I read it on our live chat. Well, what else you got, Barry? He's got to go. He's fucking Jesus.
He's got to go. I got one last question. You've been around for so many years, played for so many people. What's the characteristics of a good coach from your perspective?
Well, I guess it's fresh in my mind. Like one of my favorite staffs I've had is Pete DeBoer, Steve Spott, when they were in San Jose, and you throw the other assistants that were there, but they're back here in Dallas. And I think when we left San Jose, and then you saw a year or two later he got fired, and then hired right away in Vegas. You probably figured you'd never play for him, unless something crazy happened. Next thing you know, Vegas was moving on, and I was rooting that he came to Dallas, because he's a guy that, when you talk characteristics, he has a lot of belief in what he does. He sees the game a certain way, and that belief kind of allows him to coach the details and really press for what he wants and in spots, and then it's, we're trying to accomplish this because this is how we see we can play fast. So on the flip side, we're probably going to try to take away this, because we got to think other teams are gearing towards that. But just I think the confidence in what you're preaching as a coach and trying to teach and sticking to your guns. Our first year together in San Jose, it was, right around Thanksgiving, Christmas time, there's that stat where you kind of got to be in a playoff, position right around then to give yourselves the best chance. Those teams usually hold a pretty good spot. We were towards the bottom. We were a bubble team at that point, and they were asking, and I remember a meeting very clearly where he came in and he's like, listen, like all our analytics, all our numbers are showing that we're doing a lot of good things. We haven't got the wins yet, but we need to double down right now and stick with this forecheck, stick with our breakout plans, stick with our neutral zone, and it's going to come. It's going to turn for us. And I mean, it was a week later. We won a couple games, and we took off from there, and we ended up in the finals that year.
So I heard you mention analytics, but I hope you don't disappoint me here.
I won't. Don't worry about it.
Do you use that fucking iPad during a game?
Oh, no, I don't. It's funny because there's times I'm sitting here looking at this guy and he's staring at it like 3 shifts in a row or something, or another guy that hasn't been playing very good, and I'm thinking like, man, like I could tell you, maybe just go win a battle, right? Like you'll probably get a little bit more time. Like, why don't you just go run through somebody? It'll solve a lot. Like they're looking at it and figuring it out, and I like to glance at it, especially if I made a nice play there. Or
yeah, right.
If I should have, he's showing. He's like, "Hey, I was open," and you're like, "Yeah, I know. I guess I should have made a better play." All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So hey, listen, Joe, thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. You're a good man. Like I guess I picture you the way I've seen you out in the ice, the way you present yourself in the game, and the way you've been interviewed over the years and stuff. And yeah, you're just who I thought you were. So cool.
Well, man, if I would have known we were going to have a day off in Montreal, I would have had you take me muskie fishing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Could have did a podcast 2 days when I'm in Ottawa. That could have worked out way better.
Yeah. Well, listen, good luck to you.
Thanks.
See you, boys. Thanks.